Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again for part 2. Let's pick up from where we left off last time. Here we're going to discuss more about UPJS, the university, the city, and what to expect if you're looking to join us next year or in any future year as part of the medical or dental faculty. So let's dive into it and enjoy the show. I'm with you. And then obviously for someone like yourself going back to Canada, there might be people out there that are considering doing Canada as well. What would be your route after your degree here? How do you go back? Do you have to do exams? How does it work?
Of course, you have to register and then you also have to take exams.
Okay.
The exam, I think, is called MCCQE.
Okay.
It's like the Canadian USMLE.
Right.
Is
it difficult or?
It's probably the same as USMLE.
Oh,
if I'm
right,
honest.
okay.
You know, it probably has this. It's difficult, but you have probably like your own book. You know, they have their own book. Like USMLE has their own book that you can study from and stuff like that. But it's very competitive in Canada because they put more priority on people who did medical school in Canada.
Of course.
You know,
right.
for residency.
I'm with you.
But it's not impossible. It's just difficult. Maybe you would have to wait another year or something to get in. But it's not impossible.
And would you say that, I mean, we all know the state of the NHS in the UK is terrible. Doctors' pay is on the floor at the moment. So would you say it's a better option for students potentially to consider Canada, even if they haven't considered it in the past? Or is it, like you said, it's quite competitive? Or would you say you're only doing it because of family? Or would you actually say it's worth giving it a shot?
It's worth giving it a shot because even if you get rejected, you still have the UK.
Of course,
right?
Yeah, good plan.
But I would say look at other options. There's Ireland, you know.
Yeah.
The UK and Ireland are pretty much best of friends, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of. But when it comes to like degree switching and stuff like that, they're best of friends, okay? And then I also heard that if you work in Ireland for 3 years, you can work in Australia straight away without having to take any exams. You just need to register. So that's something that you need to look into, you know? UK isn't your only option.
Of course, yeah.
But I would say that UK is nice for experience because we're still young, you know?
Yeah.
In the medical realm, okay? You don't need to make money straight away. If that's your goal, look for other options, of course. But if you're looking for experience and maybe bettering your medical skills, then of course, like staying in the NHS for a little bit, and then finding your options maybe a year or two later, nothing wrong with that at all.
Perfect.
Sure.
Sounds great. Good advice.
All down to who the individual is, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So out of all of the countries in Europe, right, why did you choose Slovakia, and then more specifically, why Kosice, why UPJS?
Yeah.
Give us your story on that.
So after the Ukrainian war, right, we had to look for transfer. You know, I was hopeful that we'll be able to go back to Ukraine, but it was not looking possible, okay? But, so we're looking to transfer. And I was actually thinking of transferring to the UK or Ireland, but they don't accept transfers. Yeah. You'd have to start again. And I wasn't gonna do that after 3 years of being in Ukraine, right? So I was looking everywhere for a place in Europe where I can transfer into a university, because America, they don't do transfers either. You need a bachelor.
Yeah.
So I went into Ukraine with an agent at first, so I thought maybe I could do the same, going into other European countries. I ended up finding an agent called European Studies. That's a plug, for sure.
Definitely a plug, because we use them as well. So.
Oh, you use European Studies?
Evie, right?
Oh, Evie,
Yeah.
So
good agency.
Shout out to Evie, for sure. And so we used European Studies, and a lot of people do. You end up going to Greece to take the exam. I first wanted to go to, I think it's Bulgaria, Sofia University, but Evie started talking about different things like credit recognition and stuff like that. And she said there was going to be a hassle maybe for things to be recognized. And she also has ties with Kosice, with Slovakia, UPJS. So she ended up recommending it to my family and I. And we just decided to go for it, you know? We were literally stuck between, we were in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. We were looking at the embassies, which one we wanted to go to. And while we're in the car, we called up Evie and she said, look, just go to the Slovakian embassy, get your stuff done there. We ended up doing it. Next thing you know, I'm in Kosice.
I see. I mean, similar story. Between a rock and a hard place, nowhere to go, stuck in Egypt. And the transfer thing is like, like when you've dedicated years to studying,
Yeah.
and then they tell you you can go to X country, but they might not take a transfer. You might get bumped down 3 years or something. It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
So yeah, I think again, shout out to Evie. Thank you very much for
sure.
recommending Slovakia and Kosice, and obviously I would recommend the agency as well to use for sure. My situation was pretty much the same. It was, do I start again or can I go somewhere that's transfer friendly? And people will find quite quickly, especially in Europe, there's not many unis that like to transfer and the whole credit thing. We even got to a position where they were being a bit hard on us at the uni here, but Evie pulled some strings. She obviously is quite good at her job, reputable agency as well, to help us with the transfer process. So shout out to her for sure. It's definitely a good decision. And then in terms of the university, from a dental perspective, I think we have all the things that we need. The classes are great. We have relatively small groups, which is good. It's very hands-on. We get patients in the latter years. Our teachers help us on with the simulators, the phantom heads. It's a very practical way of learning. First few years, obviously, preclinical. It's a bit more, theory-based into the books. But later on, it's a lot more sort of with patients, with your hands. You learn the skills you're going to need to be a dentist. Now, for an aspiring doctor such as yourself, how has it been in comparison to Ukraine, for example? In comparison to maybe any UK students that you may know that are doing medicine, I don't know if you do or you don't. What would you say are the pros and cons of being at this uni in terms of the studying aspect and the learning aspect? And definitely in comparison to any of the countries, if you can mention that, because I'm sure people would want to know.
For sure. People ask me this quite a bit, especially when I was moving into Kosice, but I keep saying I can't compare the two because of where I was in terms of years. I was there for the first 3 years, which are the theoretical years, and you can't compare that to the last 3 years, which are practical years, right? But I will say from what I saw that Kosice gave more opportunities for international students to do more practical work, to be more in the hospital. We have a lot of equipment. It's all about asking the right questions, right? Asking, is this here? Is this there? Is there a club here? If there isn't, you can create a club. You have that openness with your teachers, right? In Ukraine, you didn't really get that so much. There was a lot of priority put onto the Ukrainian students. Same here, they put priority on the Slovak students, but they still don't forget about the international students where we're lost a lot of the time.
I'm with you.
So I would say in terms of practicals, Kosice was the way to go. They put us into the hospitals a lot earlier and a lot more. From third year, you're in the hospital over half the time. You're barely in the classroom, right? But in Ukraine, a lot of the time, you're mostly in the classroom. You rarely see patients, and you're mostly in the classroom learning about things that you've already learned the last year, right? So that's the main difference.
Right, okay. And then obviously, for those that don't know, the university is attached to a hospital. So it's easy just to go from your class straight into a clinic, for example. What have been your patient interactions so far? Are you quite hands-on, or is it still kind of learning the process? Because in the fifth year, people are expecting, you only got a year left. Is it now hands-on, and do you feel like, I'm beginning to understand what it's like to be a doctor? Like, what have your experiences been so far?
It's way more hands-on. We're mostly asking patients about clinical history and stuff like that, and you get to learn Slovak. I know there's a language barrier, but you have to learn Slovak so that you can interact with the patients. So yes, we are more hands-on. We get to see operations a little bit more. As I said, if there's something that you don't see often, you just have to ask the right questions. If you want to see an operation, you ask to maybe look in the theatre to see what's happening, right? They're not just going to give it to you on a golden platter, right? But once you hit fourth year, fifth year, you're way more hands-on than you are in Ukraine.
So you feel relatively confident that it's not like, a bogus university where...
Oh, no.
Okay, perfect. Because I think a lot of people want to know, is this a scam? Is it another, EU university that's like private and just made up for people to get a random degree, and then it's going to get blacklisted at some point? Because obviously we had Dnipro University, where I was at, in Ukraine, which is now blacklisted by the GMC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So a lot of people out there, which, my heart goes out to them, because they put 4, 5, 6 years into it, only to get told the degree was worthless.
Yeah.
So, there's certain agencies attached with that university that are attached with other universities that are now under investigation in the EU. Crazy stuff. But, I would say from a dentistry perspective, this is a very, very valid university.
Yes.
And obviously, you've heard it first. From a medical perspective, it's definitely
sure.
ideal as well. So the university we've covered, which seems to be great so far. In regards to Kosice as a city, Slovakia as a country, how would you kind of rate that? Any pros and cons in terms of the place for anybody who's thinking about coming over and studying here? What should they expect from Slovakia and Kosice?
Yeah, so it depends what type of person you are.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm a homebody. So I think Kosice is perfect, right? It's very quiet, but it has everything you need.
Yeah.
It's small, but can be entertaining if you make it, right? So I think you can expect a good time, right? But enough time to be able to study at the same time. Not too many distractions.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Not too many distractions, okay? And if you do want to have fun, that's the blessed part of being a landlocked country. There's so many countries around us.
Yeah.
We have Poland up north, we have Hungary down south, we have Czech Republic just around the corner, and we have Bratislava as well. Just take a train ride. So that's the beauty of living in Slovakia. You have everything everywhere all at once.
and it's pretty cheap to get around to all these places. Like, have you done a bit of traveling yourself around?
I've been to High Tatras.
Oh, never heard of it.
Oh, High Tatras, the mountain. So I went hiking.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's pretty much the furthest I've been.
Jeez, man.
So because
how did you get there?
Train.
I've heard the train systems are quite good here. They're quite cheap, right? So do you want to tell them how did you do that? How much it cost?
Altogether, I don't think I spent more than 10 euros for a day trip to High Tatras, even going up the mountain and everything like that. Everything, 10 euros.
And how far is it from here?
I think it's about an hour and a half. Hour and a half to get to like the town. Yeah. And then just like 20 minutes by train to go up the mountain.
All of that for 10 euros?
All that for 10 euros. It's something you could probably do like every 2 weekends or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And I heard getting to Bratislava is quite cheap as well.
I haven't yet done that though. I want to do that.
Yeah, same.
Have you done it?
Haven't. We might have to do it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Next on part 2, we'll try to
exactly. That has to be a vlog.
Yeah,
for sure.
Bratislava heard some great things about it, so definitely have to
Bratislava, Budapest, I need to go to.
100%.
I want to do that before I graduate, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, you're running out of time now, man. So.
No, I still got time, please.
Thank you so much for watching. The final part will be releasing next week, so stay tuned to find out more. See you soon.